And by the way, I'm a big fan of electric cars. I'm a fan of Elon. I like Elon, but I like him. And I think a lot of people are going to want to buy electric cars. But if you want to buy a different type of car, you have to have a choice. Some people need to go far. Some people don't want their car built in China. Some people, there are advantages to other. And basically what people have to have a choice. Who wants all electric cars? And by the way, I'm a big fan of electric cars. And, it'll be a certain group of people that are going to want them where they travel short distances. I'm fine with it. But you have to be able to get gasoline, diesel, lots of other things. Or hybrids. Hybrids actually are, I think, a much better solution. You have to be able to get it. So we're going to do all these things.
A meeting with Elon Musk recently, and
I did.
And I saw a piece written that Silicon Valley, uncharacteristically, I'm not saying it's 100% behind your candidacy, but certainly there seems to be a sea change to some extent this time around. What did Elon Musk tell you? You think you'll eventually get his support in some way, whether it's just verbal or monetary?
I don't know. Look, I've been friendly with him over the years. I've helped him when I was president. I helped him. I've liked him. We obviously have opposing views on a minor subject called electric cars. I'm all for electric cars, but you have to have all of the alternatives also. You can't just go to electric. I mean, you have a grid system in this country that's obsolete and a disaster. It's one of the things we worked on a lot is our grid system. It can't produce the electricity. It can't distribute the electricity. And, the electric cars are not even a possibility to go all electric. This Biden all electric mandate is by very, very stupid people. First of all, they don't go far. They cost too much, and they're all going to be made in China. And the auto workers are going to vote for Trump. I don't know about their top union people because they're just riveted into Democrats.
I especially want to congratulate someone who truly embodies the American ethos of big thinking and risk-taking. After achieving success as an internet entrepreneur, he could have spent his fortune doing anything, including yachting, lots of things. He could do lots of things. But in 2002, he began pouring tens of millions of dollars of his own money into research and development for a new rocket. He's a little different than a lot of other people. He liked rockets. He assembled a crew of some of the greatest minds and talent in American aerospace. In the years since, SpaceX has become the first private company to develop and successfully launch its own rocket into orbit, the first to launch and recover its own capsule. And of course, moments ago, SpaceX became the first private company to put humans into orbit around the Earth. Elon Musk, congratulations. Congratulations, Elon. It's hot as a pistol, and you see that, I pulled that one right. Leon, I tell you what, Elon is not going to buy Twitter. Where did you hear that before? From me. From a fake account. She says fake. A lot of them. Nah, he's got himself a mess. He said the other day, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another bullshit artist, but he's not going to be buying it. He's not going to be buying it. Although he might later. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? He's got a pretty rotten contract. I looked at his contract. Not a good contract.
Tesla's now worth more than GM and Ford. Do you have comments on Elon Musk?
Well, you have to give him credit. I spoke to him very recently, and he's also doing the rockets. He likes rockets, and he does good at rockets, too, by the way. I never saw where the engines come down with no wings, no anything, and they're landing. I said, I've never seen that before. And I was worried about him because he's one of our great geniuses, and we have to protect our genius. We have to protect Thomas Edison, and we have to protect all of these people that came up with originally the light bulb and the wheel and all of these things. And he's one of our very smart people, and we want to cherish those people. That's very important. But he's done a very good job. Shocking how well, how it's come so fast. I mean, you go back a year, and they were talking about the end of the company, and now all of a sudden they're talking about these great things. He's going to be building a very big plant in the United States. He has to, because we help him, so he has to help us.
I wondered if you're still in that position and whether you would, for instance, think about supporting Donald Trump if he were to run.
Well, I was simply asked if there was, if I had decided on who I would be supporting in the next presidential race. And I said I had not decided who I would support. Then I was asked, well, who might you be leaning towards? I said possibly DeSantis.
And now I'm asking you about Trump, whether you would consider him.
I think I'm undecided at this point on that election.
I wondered, you talked about putting money behind a super moderate super PAC in the US.
Yes.
And I wondered, how much money do you think you're going to put into that? What kind of support would you push?
I have not decided on an amount, but it would be some non-trivial figure, I think. I mean, at least sort of on the order of...
Non-trivial could mean a lot with you.
Sorry?
Non-trivial could mean a lot of money with you, I was guessing.
Well, I don't know. I have not decided on an exact amount, but perhaps it would be $20 or $25 million.
You tweet a lot.
I use my tweets to express myself. Some people use their hair. I use Twitter.
Well, but you use your tweeting to kind of get back at critics.
Rarely.
You kind of have little wars with the press.
Twitter is a war zone. If somebody's going to jump in the war zone, it's like, okay, you're in the arena. Let's go.
Okay. Who does that sound like?
I don't know. Who's this sound like?
It sounds like a guy who lives at the White House.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, sure. He's very good at Twitter.
I know.
I think the president is amazingly good at Twitter.
Do you see any similarities between you and him?
There aren't zero similarities.
Do you support him?
I think there are some things that I think are good, like the Space Force. But there are some things that I think are not good, like support for oil and gas.
And his position on the environment? Global warming?
We obviously do not agree on the environment.
Could you see yourself voting for President Biden? If it's a Biden-Trump election, for example?
I think I would not vote for Biden.
You'd vote for Trump?
I'm not saying I'd vote for Trump, but I mean, this is definitely a difficult choice here. You know.
Would you vote for Nikki Haley? Nikki Haley, by the way, wants all social media names to be exposed, as you know.
No, I think that's outrageous. Yeah, no, I'm not going to vote for some pro-censorship candidate.
Twitter has been instrumental in American politics and elections. What role do you think X will play in the 2024 U.S. elections?
Well, our goal is to be as even-handed and fair as possible. You know, whether someone is right, left, independent, whatever the case may be, that the platform is as fair and as much of a level playing field as possible. And now in the past, Twitter has not been, because Twitter was controlled by far-left activists, objectively. They would describe themselves as that. So if sometimes people are like, well, has it moved to the right? Well, it's moved to the center. So from the perspective of the far left, yes, it has moved to the right, because everything's to the right from the far left. But no one on the far left that I'm aware of has been suspended or, banned or de-amplified. But we're trying to be inclusive for the whole country and for other countries too. So there's a diversity of viewpoints, and free speech only matters if people you don't like are allowed to say things you don't like. Because if that's not the case, you don't have free speech, and it's only a matter of time before the censorship is turned upon you.
Do you think Donald Trump will come back to the platform? He recently posted on Truth Social about this podcast. Do you think
Truth Social is a funny name? Yeah. Every time you post on Truth Social,
that's the truth.
Yes. Well, every time, like 100%.
It's impossible to lie. Truth Social.
I just find it funny that every single thing is a truth. Like 100%.
Yeah.
That seems unlikely.
I think Gödel would say something about that. There's some mathematical contradictions possible if everything's the truth. Do you think he'll come back to X and start posting there?
I mean, I think he owns a big part of truth. Mm-hmm. So
Truth Social.
Yeah, Truth Social. Sorry.
Not Truth, the concept.
He owns Truth. Hope you bought it. So I think Donald Trump. I think he owns a big part of Truth Social. So, if he does want to post on the X platform, we would allow that. We obviously must allow a presidential candidate to post on our platform.
Community notes might be really fascinating there. The interaction.
Community notes is awesome.
Let's hope it holds up.
Yeah.
Like, again, in the political climate where it's so divisive and there's so many intensely viral posts.
Yes.
Community notes is like it seems like a essential breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's great. In fact, no system is going to be perfect, but the batting average of community notes is incredibly good.
We're coming up on an election. I mean, it's a ways away, but it's going to all start.
Yeah.
President Trump is allowed back on the platform. He hasn't actually come back.
Right.
But one would imagine if and when he does, or there are others who will say 2020 election was rigged. Is that something, I assume that's not something you believe?
I think the answer is nuanced. Do I believe Biden won? Yes, I believe he won.
And you voted for him.
I did, actually.
Do you regret that?
I mean, man, I wish we could have just a normal human being as president. That's what I want. I think if we could, there's that old saying of like, we're better off being run by people picked at random from the phone book than the faculty of Harvard.
Yeah.
I don't know who said that, but it was someone very wise. And I would say if we could do that for the president, that would be great.
You think that would be beneficial? So you're not happy with Biden.
Don't we all just want a normal human being to be
whatever
the president?
That means, whatever. I'm not even sure anymore what normal means.
No, but I mean, just I don't know, just a.
You want somebody who's competent.
Yeah,
that's helpful.
Yes, I think definitely somebody's executive ability is underrated. Since the president is effectively the chief executive officer of the country, it actually matters if they are a good executive officer.
Yeah.
It's not simply a matter of do they share your beliefs, and but are they good at getting things done? There's a lot of decisions that need to be made every day. Many of them are unrelated to moral beliefs.
Right.
And you just want a good executive. Because they're CEO of America.
They are.
So we want a good CEO of America who's going to be an effective.
Unfortunately, we live in highly partisan times where there is war about everything, including ideas, including the truth, which gets back to it's not true that the election in 2020 was rigged. It wasn't stolen. And I wonder on the platform, when you see that, does that end up in a community note, or is that something you take more action on? And obviously, that applies to so many.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think it was a stolen election. But by the same token, if somebody's going to say that there's never any election fraud anywhere, this is obviously also false.
Yeah.
If 100 million people vote, the probability that the fraud is zero is zero. There's going to be,
of course, there's always going to be some.
A little.
But is it going to, right? I mean, the tiniest bit, perhaps. I mean, this election was audited. It was so many judges. I mean, it went on and on and on, and there was nothing whatsoever that. I don't want to debate this with you. My question is more about.
I think it's important to say, that in any given election, even if you try your hardest, if you've got 100 million votes, there's going to be some amount of fraud that is not zero. And that it's important to acknowledge that without saying that the fraud was of sufficient magnitude to change the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So my opinion would be that there was some small amount of fraud, but it was not enough to change the outcome.
Right, and by the way, it might have been either way. I mean,
Yeah, this is probably a little bit of each way.
But again, it's going to be you're going to let people say that though on Twitter, and then you're going to hope that they're corrected.
They will be corrected.
They will be.
Oh yeah, 100%.